Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Dave Thompson. I'm the director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, and we are now streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So we appreciate all of you out there in the wide world of the internet, and all of you sitting in front of us right here today. We are streaming live from Tampa, Florida. We are at the Gym Supply Cleaning Festival and Rockstar Talks. So our first talk of today, hey, you guys have seen me all the time. You do not want to hear me talk all day. I've got a lot to talk about this afternoon, but for the next, 45 minutes, you get a break from me. Okay, everybody give me applause, right? Yeah, I get a break from Dave, right? Okay, good. So, a few years ago, I started a podcast. You might see the sign back there. You can scan the code. It's Beyond Clean with Ace. And one of the neat things about podcasting is you come across all kinds of individuals and all kinds of things. Well, since I like sales, I happen to come across somebody that maybe might know just a little bit about sales. As I understand, if you have a window in your house, he might have sold that window, because I think he sold $90 million worth of windows. I think he knows a little bit about sales. Anyway, you don't want to listen to me for the whole time. I'm going to hit something here and step out. Everybody, Allan Langer.
Thank you, Dave. Look at that. He's disappearing behind the curtain. You got it? I'll do it. I can do it. I can do it. I got a little tech savvy. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So, yes, Dave said that I have sold $90 million in product in my career. I used to work for Anderson Windows. I'm not going to bore you about me, because this is about you guys this morning. And when Dave asked me, I was on his podcast, which was a lot of fun. And when he asked me to do this, he actually kind of forced me to do a completely different keynote that I'm normally used to doing. I normally do a keynote strictly about selling. I'm in front of people who sell in the home, contractors, things like that. You guys are contractors too, and we talked about what this keynote should be about, and it's really about one of the challenges you guys have the most is really, how do you sell yourselves? Cleaning, it's not a sexy word. It's not. In fact, it's looked at as like a commodity quite often. I got to get a cleaning company. Let's get the cheapest one out there. They all do the same thing, right? Well, let's figure out today that you all don't all do the same thing. You got some really great cleaning companies out there and great people doing it. So how do you actually communicate that value? How do you actually show the people that are going to hire you, the people that are in charge of your budget line? If you're, a school department that has a maintenance department and they want to slash your budget, they want to outsource. How do you actually say, no, I'm valuable? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Selling your value in what I call a commodity-driven world. What's the best bid? Like, let's get 3 bids and pick the cheapest. Okay, so this is going to be interactive too, but we're going to go through things. If anybody has any questions at all, and actually, hello to the live stream audience. Hopefully, we've got a lot of people out there. If anyone is listening live stream, put up a comment. If I see it, I'll try to address it. But any questions, just raise your hand, and I'll be happy to talk. All right, so let's get into it. So I have a question. Wait a minute, this is not working. There we go. Come on. Oh, you got to do that. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so I have a question for everybody. Show of hands. Who likes meeting with a salesperson? You're lying. Exactly. You're about 2% of the population. So I have a book. I wrote a book that was it was actually a bestseller a couple years ago, and it's about sales. But when I was writing the book, I wrote the entire book in a coffee shop in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, where I live. And I was doing some research for the book, and one of the things I did was ask that question. And I asked 231 people who walked into the coffee shop over a 3-week period, whatever it was, do you like meeting with a salesperson? 100%. I stopped at 231. Every single one. You didn't walk into the coffee shop. Said no. Every single one. And most of them, it wasn't like, no, not really. It was like emphatic no's, like, hell no. Who the hell wants to meet with a salesperson, right? And it's that perception that's out there that people don't want to talk to you if you sell something. And why is that? Why do we have to deal with that? We all need to buy stuff, right? But we don't want to talk to the person who sells it. If I need cleaning supplies, if I need to hire a cleaning company, I gotta talk to somebody. This just died, Dave. We're having technical difficulties. Dave, this just died. The light's not on anymore. Anyway, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
So you always have to talk to the salesperson, and that's what we don't want to do. It's probably a battery thing.
That's why I got spares, right?
He's always prepared. And this isn't working again. All right, this is bad. Okay, this is working? Yep. No light on.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't be on.
Are we back? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. There we go. We're back. All right. Now I got to go fast. We just lost 5 minutes. Okay. So Woody Allen once said, there are worse things in life than death. As we continue this theme of not wanting to meet with a salesperson, this is one of my favorite quotes. Have you ever spent the evening with an insurance salesman? Right? But you can actually fill in the blank. Have you ever spent the evening with a cleaning salesman? Have you ever spent the evening with a car salesman? Have you ever met with this blank salesman? People don't like to do it because the perception is, oh my God, I'd rather die. Or I don't want to go through this, except for people like this young lady right here. So I have another question for you guys, since we're talking about that sales. Do you guys consider yourselves salespeople? Think about that. You actually have to sell your services. We're all salespeople, no matter what we do. The problem is we don't think about ourselves as salespeople. We think about ourselves as someone that's just trying to convince someone to do something, but we're not a salesperson. Now here's another question for you. My final question, at least in the beginning here. You guys consider yourself contractors. See, when you talk about the service industry, when you talk about people that do things for other people, most of the time that falls under the category of being a contractor. You fix homes, you clean homes, you're a cleaning contractor. Okay? Contractors, people that are hired to do something. The problem is, what's the perception of contractors? Not much better than salespeople, right? When you start to Google salespeople images, this is what comes up. This is the perception out there. This is the person they're expecting to meet when the salesperson comes over. Person they can't trust, person that's going to rip them off, person that's not going to tell the truth, it's going to get one over on them. See the bottom right there, snake oil salesman, that was actually a real thing. That's a term. Oh my God, he was a snake oil salesman, or he was a used car salesman. Those are negative terms, right? Snake oil was actually a real thing. It happened back in the 20s when P.T. Barnum was around and they had all those circuses and festivals. These ripoff artists just mixed some baking soda, some vinegar, and water, and they called it snake oil, and they sold it, and they said it healed everything. Obviously, it didn't do anything, but the term snake oil salesman was born, and it still exists today. There are people who sell stuff, who are salespeople, who when they're asked, what do you do for a living? They don't want to say salesperson. They get a little embarrassed because it has such a negative perception. So I started Googling when I was getting ready for this keynote, some issues that contracting, cleaning contractors, the perception that could come up when someone's thinking about that. Sweeping stuff under the rug, money going down the toilet. These are the images that come up with cleaning contractors. Someone sleeping on the couch instead of cleaning. I see nodding heads. Smoking in the back while on their cell phone. Or they're just not clean themselves. This is fascinating. They do these surveys a couple times a year, and they're called different things, but essentially, what are the top hated professions in the United States by consumers? If you poll consumers, what professions do they hate and not trust the most? Ready for this? Number 1 is a lawyer. That's pretty obvious. Number 2 is a politician. They're pretty much neck and neck. Guess what number 3 is? Salesperson. Number 4 is a dentist. That's saying people would rather go to a dentist than meet with a salesperson, which is pretty crazy. And 5 is contractors. Top 5 hated professions, salesperson and contractor is in the top 5. And guess what? You're both. You have 2 major hurdles to overcome before the conversation even starts. Let's just round this out. Debt collector, parking cop, traffic cop, and car mechanics. The common denominator here, the thread that's going through all of these, is a lack of trust. People don't trust these people. They're going to get ripped off. So when you get ready for an appointment, or when you get ready to meet with the board to talk about your budget, know that you're behind that 8 ball right from the beginning. I guess someone's backing in, right, Dave? Contractors, right? We got reverse beeps, we got everything going on here. So you're behind that 8 ball, and that's what I want you guys to understand. Don't just walk in thinking they want to meet with you. Oh, I got the sales guy coming in from ABC Cleaning today. Woohoo, I'm excited. They're not. They want to get you out of there as quickly as possible. You're behind that 8 ball. How do you get in front of it? How do you become the salesperson and the contractor that they actually want to meet with? And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell a quick story here to talk about perception. So there was a frog hanging out one day next to a stream. And all of a sudden, a scorpion decides, he just starts walking over, and the frog sees the scorpion and goes, oh my God, it's a scorpion. And he scurries behind some tall grass. He's hiding. The scorpion hops over and says, Mr. Frog, I need your help. And the frog looks out from the grass. He goes, help? Why would I help you? You're a scorpion. You're one of the dangerous creatures in the forest. He goes, yes, I understand that. But I have to get across this stream. And the only way I can do that is to get on your back and have you swim me across because I can't swim. So the frog's like, you're a crazy scorpion. Why would I do that? If I put you on my back, you're going to sting me. He goes, but Mr. Frog, why would I sting you? Because then we would both drown. I can't swim, remember? The frog thinks about it. He goes, he's right. So he comes out from the grass. He goes, you promise you won't sting me? He goes, why would I sting you? I just need to get across the stream. And then you'll have great stories to tell your other little frog friends that you carried this dangerous scorpion across the stream. So the frog goes, you know what? You're right. There's no way you would sting me. So the scorpion climbs on the frog's back and hops in the water and he starts to swim across. And he's enjoying himself. He's like, I can't believe I have a scorpion on my back. This is the coolest story I'm ever going to bring back. And all of a sudden, he feels something in the back of his neck, sharp pain. He's like, what, did a branch fall on me? And he turns his head and he sees the scorpion stinger being retracted from his body. He's like, Mr. Scorpion, you stung me. And the scorpion's just smiling at him. He goes, why would you sting me? Now he's trying to swim and his body's stiffening up from the poison and he starts to go under. He goes, why would you sting me? Why? And the scorpion, right before they go under the water, he said, because that's who I am and that's what I do. That's your perception. People are expecting the scorpion to come in, no matter what you say. That's what you have to change. You have to change that perception. Dave and I were talking about that this morning. You don't just walk in and start talking about your products and your services right away. You have to talk about your value. And then you become important. So again, how do we change the perception? How do you become the cleaning contractor or the sales rep that people want to talk to? They enjoy to talk to. They say, you know what? Come on over. I've got 15 minutes today. I enjoy your company. Pretty rare for a sales rep to have that kind of reputation, unfortunately. So you do that by communicating your value. And we're going to talk about what that means today. How do you communicate your value? How do you drive sales or save your budget? Because in a big organization like a school district, you're a line item based on your value. How do you do this without it being based on just your price? So we call this the value proposition. What is a value proposition? The definition is, there's quite a few definitions, but they all essentially say the same thing. It's a short, memorable statement which quickly communicates why customers should buy or use you. By the way, if you all want to leave a business card with me before you leave, or your name, I can send you the PDF of this talk. So you don't have to feverishly write notes or anything. I can send you this. So my table is toward the front end of the building. So be happy to send you the PDF. So a short, memorable statement which quickly communicates why customers should buy from you or use you or keep you as part of their budget and not outsource you. By the way, so let's see who's in the room here. Who has their own cleaning company? Who is part of a system where they're managing janitors and custodial staff? What do we got in the audience today? Mix of both? Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's start talking about how to communicate the value. And this is one of my favorite questions to ask. What you're going to do is, why don't you fill in the blank? We're not a cleaning company. We are a blank company. Who wants to volunteer and fill in that blank? Service company. Who else? Environmental service company. What's that? Yeah. Who else? Give me another one. We're not a cleaning company. We are a blank company. It's tough to answer, right? Because you're all cleaning companies. You all do cleaning. Distribution company. Peace of mind. Now he's on the right track. Get away from your products and your service. You know what the right answer to this is? You're a customer service company. No matter who you serve. You're a customer service company that happens to clean office buildings. You're a customer service company that happens to clean residential homes. You're a customer service company that happens to have 300 people on your janitorial staff for the South District school system. If you start with customer service and not selling, you'll actually sell a lot more and you'll communicate your value more. The people you're talking to want the best customer service first before the products. Keep that in mind. Everybody sells products. I was walking around a little bit listening to some of the sales pitches out there today. I'm not going to name names, but everybody's leading with the product. I didn't see one person out there in a booth ask the customer a question. Person came up to the booth. What do you got? Started showing the product. If I'm selling this camera and someone came up to me and I had a booth, hey, look at this camera. Look at this. It has all these angles and, you know, telephoto and color and black and white. There's all this stuff. How about, hey, what do you need a camera? What kind of cameras do you have now? What do you like about cameras? I'm not talking about my product yet. I'm talking about what their problems are first. Customer service first. So how do you write a great value proposition? So we're going to go through some stuff today. And again, when I send you the PDF, it'll be a little easier to understand. And then at the end, I've got some pretty cool examples of some good value proposition. But the value proposition, what does it explain? So the first thing to understand, it explains the how. How your products or your services solve problems and improve situations. What is your how? Not the product. How does the product or service solve the problem? Then we get into the benefits. You always talk about features and benefits, right? But you can't talk about benefits until you know the problems. What specific benefits can customers expect from working with you? I'm on a live stream, so I think I got to stay in the camera view here. And then the most important is the why. Why customers should buy from you or not reduce your budget. So buy from you or outsource you. Why? What is your value? It's not because you have the greatest products. It's because of your customer service. It's because of how they feel working with you. It's the other things that you bring to the table. Everybody's got great products. Everybody can clean a bathroom. What makes you different? What a value proposition is not, this is where people get confused, it's not a slogan. Big companies can use slogans. Apple, think different, that's their slogan. Or used to be one of their slogans. That's not a value proposition, that's a cute slogan. For you guys, you need a value proposition, not a slogan. I'm going to show you how so many companies get this wrong because they think cute actually sells and cute doesn't sell at all. And it's also not a positioning statement. A positioning statement, we see them all the time. You can walk down a main street and it has 5 coffee shops and every one will have a sign that says, best coffee in town. A positioning statement. Number 1 cleaning service in South Florida. Nobody cares. Everybody's number 1. Everybody's the best. A positioning statement is not value. It's just you talking about yourself. There's a coffee shop in my town that, like I said, I wrote my book, and she has a little one of those sandwich boards, a little chalkboard, and she writes these cute little sayings every day. Instead of saying, we have the best coffee in town, she writes these cute little sayings that she finds on the internet, and it makes her unique. It gets people who are not walking by like, let's go in there. That's value. It makes people want to go in. If she just had best coffee in town, it's not going to make me go in. The coffee shop just down there said the same thing. So what are the elements of your value proposition? So now this, again, this is not an end-all be-all. This is sort of a framework. I'd like you to think about this. But good ones, and if you start paying attention to stuff you see on the internet and advertising and things like that, you'll see how these are played out if they're done right. But a headline is usually a good one. Headline describes the end benefit your customers are going to get. So you start with a headline and then a subheadline. If you have a website, you have to have a headline and you have to have a subheadline on your first page. When people go to your website, you have 8 seconds to communicate 3 things. What do you sell? How do I get it? And how's it going to make my life better? If you don't communicate those 3 things in 8 seconds, they're going on to the next web page. So a clear, crisp value statement gets people to scroll down to your second page, gets people to stay, not to leave. Clarity wins, not cute. So headline, sub-headline. You can use bullet points. Usually, if it's not a bullet point, if it's in a paragraph, it's okay. But if you stay within the realm of three quick statements of what you do, of what your value is, it's going to make the brain feel better. The brain loves 3, loves things in 3. And obviously, you want to have a good picture or a video. So these are the 4 like main elements of a value proposition. They can be done in different ways, but this is a really good foundation for you to start with. Any questions so far? We good? All right, I see a lot of head nodding. So what makes a good value proposition? I mentioned clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity. You have to be clear. Value propositions, the ones that are most memorable are the ones that are the clearest. I'll go back to, no matter what your political affiliation is, go back to the 2000 and whatever Trump was elected. What was his slogan or what was his value statement? Make America great again. That was him. Can you tell me anyone else that ran for president what their value statements were? No, because they weren't clear. Guess who won? Clarity always wins. Results. Communicate very specific results that your customer will get by using you. And again, I want you to be creative. Don't think you're just going to have a cleaner office. Every cleaning company is going to say that. What makes you better? Sit down with your staff. Let's go through this, guys. Let's put a bunch of Post-it notes on the wall. What makes us great? 2 or 3 word sentences. All of a sudden, your value statement will start to appear. What makes you different and better? Explain very clearly why you are different and better than other options. There's 100 cleaning companies out there that ABC Corporation could hire. Why should they hire you? Better yet, why should they hire you if you're more expensive than the other 3 people they looked at? And finally, quickly understood, I just talked about this on the website, your value proposition needs to be communicated and understood in under 8 seconds. That's how important these are. Otherwise, they're going somewhere else. If they don't understand what makes you different and what makes you valuable, you're just a commodity at that point. If they're looking at 3 different cleaning companies and none of them have any type of value proposition whatsoever, they're just going to pick the lowest price. But imagine if they're looking at 3 companies, 2 of them were just price and 1 had a value proposition. Chances are they're going to hire you. A good value proposition has 3 criteria. Again, we're kind of talking about the same theme here, but it's specific. What are the specific benefits your target customer will receive? Very specific. Again, not just a clean office. Get more specific than that. Get creative. Talk about the pain, just like the person coming up to the booth. Don't just talk about your products. What problems are you having? What challenges are you having? They'll tell you. You have to lead with the problem that you solve, not your product or service. I'll give you an example. So let's say you're at a networking function and you walk up and you say, "Hey, I'm Alan, what's your name?" And the guy says, "Hi, I'm Bob, I'm an electrician." "Nice to meet you, Bob." 10 minutes later, you walk up and, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" "I'm Alan, what do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, hi, I'm Dave, I'm an electrician." Great. 10 minutes later, you walk up, "What's your name?" Sonia. Sonia? "Hi, I'm Alan. What's your name?" You say, "Hi, I'm Sonia." And I said, "What do you do?" He goes, my name's Sonia. And you know that breaker that blows in your house every time you turn on your hair dryer or your iron? I can come over and fix that in about 2 hours. I'm an electrician." What did I just do? I explained my value. What electrician are you going to hire out of those three? In fact, 7 months down the road, when you completely forgot about the networking function, but that breaker breaks, who are you going to remember? You're going to remember Sonia. Because she led with the problem that she solved. She led with her value, not what she does. The other two guys I forgot about by the end of the night. With Sonia, I'm going to remember. So that's a little tip for you guys. When you're at a networking function where someone says, what do you do? Talk about your value. What's yours, Dave? Dave has a wow statement. I love his. What does he say?
I am a janitor and I save lives.
There you go. That's memorable. That's valuable. And the third criteria, it needs to be exclusive, meaning how is it both desirable and exclusive? How well does it highlight your competitive advantage and set you apart from competitors? Again, that's where you need to brainstorm. That's where you need to sit down and say, what makes me different? What makes people want to hire me? So the following four things are tips to help you with your value proposition as you're writing it, as you're coming up with it, especially with your team. The first thing is you have to know who your buyer is, called your buyer's persona. Your most effective value proposition will speak directly to what your customer cares about most. Again, it's about your customer. It's not about you or your product. What are their goals, their challenges, their fears, their problems? Ask questions, open-ended questions. If you go on a sales call, if you go on a budget meeting, ask questions. When you ask questions, you find out what your buyer's persona is, you'll have a better, easier way or easier path to writing your value proposition. Then, once you come up with your buyer's persona, what are their needs? And I like this little exercise where you're going to answer these questions as if you were your customer. So where do your customers' needs and services intersect? Where do they run into each other? And if you answer these questions as if you were the customer, you'll actually start to put yourself in your customer's shoes. So I want to buy this service because it will help me blank. Why would they want to buy your service? Why would they want to use you? Why would they want to keep you instead of outsourcing you? How would they answer that question? The best part of this offer, the best part of this company, the best part of what you're doing is what? Blank. 90% of the time, they don't answer price in that category. They answer something else of value. And I want to keep this company or service over others because, boom. If you have existing customers now, survey them. Hey, we're surveying our customers. We really appreciate your business. Would you mind filling out a couple of questions for you? Do a Survey Monkey. It takes 5 minutes. They'll give you some incredibly valuable information that will even help you write your value statement. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to ask your customers what they like about you, what they don't. You might find some stuff that you never knew. I had a customer once survey their customers, and 4 or 5 of them came back and said, thank you, but we're considering, going to a different company. They had no idea. Holy crap, what do we do now? And then they had to figure that out. They didn't survey them, they would have lost 4 customers. So don't be afraid to do that. We talked about this again before, but again, it's so worth repeating. Don't be cute or clever. Clarity always wins. Be direct and clear with your message. Clarity, 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 clarity. Am I clear with that? Clarity wins. This is a website. I took everything else out of this website, but the slogan or what they thought was a value statement. Now look at this website. This was the first page of this website. It said, move mountains and machines with us. What do you think they sold? Any idea? Give me a guess. Dump trucks. Okay, good guess. When I first saw it, I thought they sold like the backhoes and earth moving equipment. But then you look at like move machines. What does that mean? Anybody else want to guess? What'd you say? Everyone's like, I have no idea. What do they sell, right? This is about as unclear as you can get. You know what they sold? They sold industrial ball bearings. This company. This was their website for industrial ball bearings. Move mountains and machines with us. I'm pretty sure they didn't sell a lot of ball bearings. I mean, you can actually be clever with your value proposition as long as it states your value. There's a lot of statements, industrial ball bearings, there's a lot of things you can come up with, right? But they didn't hire me to do that. So this is an example, and there's a ton of them out there about websites trying to be cute, trying to be clever, and completely losing customers because they're not getting their point across. And the fourth thing, and I talked about this is absolutely critical, involve your team. Sit down, you could probably have company meetings, sit down with them and say, today and next week and the whole month, we're going to talk about our value. I want you to say, Sonia, what do you think our value as a company is? And just have them listed. Companies put post-it notes on a board and go through it. You'll be amazed what some of your employees come up with. So many things could happen. You can find stuff that you never even thought they found valuable. Find stuff that you need to fix from an employee standpoint. Have this type of meeting. Make sure, and then once you come up with your value statement, make sure the entire team knows it, commits it to memory, and they should always be living it every single day. Don't just put it in a Word document in a customer handbook or employee handbook. Doesn't matter in there. They should be able to recite your value proposition because it's only going to be 1 or 2 sentences, and they should be able to communicate it to everyone they speak to, the customers, the vendors, the suppliers. This is us. This is our value statement. It also builds company morale because they understand that they just don't work for a commodity. They work for a company that has value, and that's so important. So 2 final questions to ask yourself when you're writing your value statement and when you're talking to your team is what makes you or your company unique? Again, I challenge you to come up with that. What makes you unique in this saturated world of cleaning? And what benefits resonate with your ideal customer? What problems, challenges, frustrations do you solve? These are the things to think about and get creative with. Anybody can say, I can clean your office. Anybody can say, keep us as part of the budget for the school system because we clean everything nicely. Well, I can outsource this and save $500,000 a year. Yeah, but there's no value with that other company. The value is with staying with us. Why? So let's look at some fun examples of value propositions. I'm going to bring up some larger companies that have gotten this right. A lot of large companies don't. One, I've been using them all week, Uber. Everyone in here has taken an Uber at some point in their life, right? Their first value proposition, the smartest way to get around. Here's their headline. Subheadline, tap the app, get a ride. Simple, clear. And then their 3-part statement. Uber is the smartest way to get around. 1 tap and a car comes directly to you. Your driver knows exactly where to go, and payment is completely cashless. You can't get any more clear than that. This is what catapulted Uber when they first came out, this value statement. It's like every problem I have, trying to a taxi, trying to, this whole concept, wow, I tap a button, I pay on my app, and I get driven somewhere. How cool is that? And how easy it was and how clear it was. Great value proposition. Let's go back to Apple. Now they change their value propositions or their wording of it quite often because they're such a large company. They also have slogans. But when you look at Apple, they always come back to this: the experience of using an iPhone. They always talk about the experience, and here they really nailed it. The experience is the product. I think that's really cool. Why there's nothing quite like iPhone. And now here's them literally sitting down and saying, what's making us special? Every iPhone we've made, and we mean every single one, was built on the same belief that a phone should be more than a collection of features, that above all, a phone should be absolutely simple, beautiful, and magical to use. Wow. Go ahead, dude. Oh, you have an iPhone. Is that what you're doing? I thought you were raising your hand for the question. Magical to use. Who would want to get an iPhone when you read that, right? I don't want something with a bunch of features that I don't know how to use. I want magic. It's brilliant. Now let's look at a company you've never heard of, probably, but this is a great value proposition. Novo Watch. Timepieces handmade in Alberta from repurposed pieces of history. Wow, that's freaking cool. I'm going to the second page of this website. Repurposed pieces of history. Value. They're making you think instantly. You know the difference between a watch from Novo and one of its competitors. I'm not buying a Timex now after I can get a piece of history on my wrist. The best value propositions are unique and undeniably different. What makes you unique and undeniably different in this world of cleaning? So I challenge you as we wrap this up. What is your value proposition? Sit down with your team, figure it out. Because right now, people think cleaning's a dirty word. It's a commodity. Well, you know what? It's not a dirty word. You want people to go from that perception to one of these, a perception of this. Maybe this is your value. Dave said he's a janitor and I save lives. Janitors were called heroes during COVID. Smart companies took advantage of that. Thank you, everybody. Any questions? So visit my booth. I have my book there for sale. I'll sign it for you. Leave me your business card or your name, and I'll be happy to send you a copy of this presentation. I also do consulting for businesses if you want to sit down and actually need some help with this. We certainly, if you have a sales staff, I do sales training, business consulting, all that stuff. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
So how many people here is a cleaning service? Anybody just a contractor? How many people work for a school district?
Okay.
Did you know that as a school district that your budget, ever think about what the budget is of the cleaning staff of the school district? Here's a fact that you might not know. 80% of the cleaning contractors, their annual revenue that they make is less than $250,000 a year. Think of yourself as a business. What he's saying here is you have value. That statement that he keeps talking about, I'll be doing a program at FSPMA this fall called Getting to Wow. It's a 1-hour presentation and a 2-hour workshop. I'll actually get real deep in how to build that value statement that he's talking about so that you come up with something like what he likes. I'm a janitor. What's that picture that you've got? Not usually something that goes along with, and I save lives. So we'd like to help you do that. Thank you, Allan, for coming in.
You're welcome. My
Have a good time at your show. I'll have a half here in a little while.
Bring that out.
I figured you were wanting this. I'll carry you that.
Oh, you got it.
Hang on, I gotta stop this.
The live stream?
Yeah.